talk to you today about sitting cross-legged on the floor. First of all, it's hard for some people to sit a long time cross-legged on the floor without completely dropping into their back. So my advice is don't resist it. You can think of sitting cross-legged on the floor as a chance to actually let your spine flex and enjoy that stretch along the back. And it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. Now the reason that happens is because if you don't have very free hip joints, then the pelvis automatically tilts back, and so your back has to curve forward to keep yourself balanced. Now it's nice if you keep your hands far forward, then you don't have to hunch so far forward to keep yourself balanced. Now if you're sitting for a long time like this, it might start to put a little bit of pressure on the discs, and it might kind of just get you used to a kind of hunched over position. So if you want to mix things up, try putting something under your bum so your hips don't have to flex so far forward. So let me show you how that works. Now I have some yoga blocks here, but you can use books or a cushion or a yoga cushion or anything basically that lifts up your pelvis. Now look, it's very easy for me to sit much taller on top of the blocks. It's actually, it's a very different experience. My shoulders are starting to feel like they've got something coming up underneath. I could still slouch here, but it's a different kind of slouch. Now my neck is pulled back and it's a different situation. The pelvis, you'll notice, because the legs are lower, the pelvis can tip forward. So if you're playing cards on the floor with your friends or something, experiment with, sit a while like this and enjoy the openness of the back. And slide some books or a cushion under your bum. Sit like this. It's also nice. Now in this position, it's nice to tip forward from the hip joints so that you notice where your hip joints are and notice that they're mobile. And notice the difference between that and tipping forward from the spine. Those are two different things. And if you can, when you reach out to get a card, get some motion not just in the spine but also in the hip joints, so you really feel like you're getting the whole trunk involved in the movement. Now, once you get tired of this sitting position, which you will, try a different one. Like, how about on your knees? It's also a pretty good one if you want to practice having a long vertical spine. Again, you can practice that motion from the hip joints and that feeling of the whole spine balanced up above. Now, you can also actually get some cushions up under the bum here. I don't know if I can do that with these. And you can get support between. Yeah, sure. This is nice too. This takes quite a bit of the pressure off of the knees. And depending on the cushion you have, you might be able to get your knees closer. This is a nice one. I haven't done this one before. But there's other ones you can do when you get tired of that. So this works pretty well. For some reason, for me, this feels pretty good. I've got the pelvis almost vertical there. And so once again, I can get a sense of the spine balanced on top of this pelvis. The shoulders feel like they've got something to rest on. And I can do this on either side. Now one side is better than the other. This side feels a little bit, this side I really have to curve my spine. Now, once you get tired of that, don't be afraid to sit like this. Now here, when you're sitting like this, there's a difference between really just hanging from your shoulder and going ahead and sending your shoulder a little bit into the floor. This takes a little more energy, but you can go back and forth between hanging and coming up off your shoulder. Don't forget, you can also play cards like this, which gives a nice little bit of spinal extension. Now I can't do this for very long, but I might do it for a little bit during the game. If you get tired of this, you get tired of all of this, take some books and have a lie down. Put them under your head. Think of your back dropping down, your shoulders dropping back, your hips nice and free, your head so free that it feels like a ball just resting on the books. And just sort of enjoy the world coming to you and you dropping back. The last thing you can think, which is the most challenging, is to imagine on this position, with everything dropping back, imagine your head going away from your pelvis, almost like you've eaten a pill that makes your spine get longer. And just imagining that, and at the same